In a vast orbital academy circling the neutral moon of Kylus, students from over 30 species trained side by side to become officers of the Galactic Alliance. The academy hung in silent space, its silver spires catching the pale light of a distant sun. Inside, the air hummed with discipline, ambition, and quiet rivalry. Among the cadets walked Luna Brandt, a human girl from Virith, a planet so deadly most aliens called it a death world. Luna did not speak much. She kept to herself, her dark eyes always watching, always measuring. Her uniform fit neatly, her boots polished, her posture straight. She never bragged, never argued, never drew attention, yet others noticed her. Not because she was loud, but because she moved like shadow over stone, smooth, silent, and certain. Her hands were calloused, her skin marked with old scars hidden beneath her sleeves. She had survived Virith. That alone made her different. The academy taught tactics, diplomacy, xenolinguistics, and advanced combat. Cadets trained in zero gravity, in high heat, in simulated war zones. They learned to pilot fighters, command squads, and negotiate peace. But today was simulation day in Bay 7, the largest live-fire arena in the station. The instructor, a tall Krellian named Varan, stood at the control platform, his 4 eyes scanning the roster. "Today's exercise is the Crimson Gauntlet," he announced. "Solo run, full hazard. You have 10 minutes to cross the course, disable 3 Hunter-class drones, and reach the extraction point. Fastest time this cycle is 4 minutes 17 seconds. Beat it and your name goes on the honor wall." Cadets exchanged glances. The Crimson Gauntlet was brutal. It featured shifting terrain, sonic traps, plasma turrets, and drones programmed to adapt to each runner's style. Only the top 5% ever finished under 5 minutes. Most took 7 or 8. A few failed entirely. Zaraven stepped forward. She was a Telian, tall and sharp-featured, with silver hair and eyes that glinted like polished glass. She came from a noble house, trained since childhood in elite academies. She had never lost a challenge. "I will run first," Zara said, her voice crisp. "And I will set a new record." Foran nodded. "Very well. Begin when ready." Zara entered the bay. The doors sealed behind her. Alarms blared. Lights shifted to red. The course activated. For 4 minutes and 9 seconds, Zara moved like lightning. She vaulted over molten trenches, rolled under laser grids, and used a stolen drone pulse emitter to blind the first hunter. She disabled the second with a well-placed kick to its gyro core. The third she tricked into colliding with a collapsing wall. She reached the extraction point breathless but victorious. The timer stopped at 4 minutes 9 seconds. A new record. The watching cadets cheered. Instructors murmured approval. Zara bowed slightly, then turned toward the observation deck. Her gaze landed on Luna. "You, Deathworlder," she called out. "You sit there like a ghost. Do you even know how to run? Or did Virith teach you only how to hide?" A few laughed. Others stayed silent. Luna did not flinch. She simply looked at Zara, then at Varan. "May I run, sir?" she asked, her voice low but clear. Varan studied her. "You have not trained for this version of the gauntlet. It is calibrated for advanced reflexes." "I have trained on Virith," Luna said. That was enough. The Krellian nodded. "Very well. Suit up." Cadets parted as Luna walked to the bay entrance. She did not wear extra armor. No pulse emitters, no shields. Just her standard uniform and boots. She stepped inside. The doors closed. Silence fell over the observation deck. Zara crossed her arms, smirking. The timer started. Instantly, the bay erupted. Plasma turrets fired. The floor split open, revealing a pit of rotating blades. Sonic emitters shrieked at frequencies meant to disorient. Most cadets would pause, assess, plan. Luna did not. She ran. Not with speed alone, but with instinct honed by years on a planet where every breath could be your last. She leaped over the blade pit without slowing, her body twisting midair to avoid a plasma bolt. She hit the ground rolling, came up sprinting. The first drone dropped from the ceiling, arms unfolding into twin shock prods. Luna ducked under its swing, grabbed its wrist joint, and twisted hard. Metal cracked. The drone sparked and collapsed. 2 seconds, she did not stop. Ahead, a corridor narrowed into a laser maze. Red beams crisscrossed in chaotic patterns. Others would wait for a gap. Luna saw the rhythm in the chaos. She slid under the lowest beam, spun through a gap, and somersaulted over a rising wall. She emerged on the other side without a scratch. The second drone waited in ambush behind a smoke screen. It lunged. Luna sidestepped, drove her elbow into its optical sensor, then stomped its knee joint. It fell. She ripped out its power core with one sharp pull. 4 seconds total. The final stretch was a vertical climb up a magnetic shaft with wind jets blasting from all sides. Halfway up, the third drone appeared, hovering on anti-grav thrusters. It fired stun rounds. Luna dodged left, right, then used the wind jet to launch herself sideways. She grabbed a maintenance ledge, swung around, and kicked off the wall. She flew through the air, caught the drone by its thruster housing, and slammed it into the shaft wall. It shorted out instantly. She reached the top. The extraction beacon glowed. She tapped it. The timer stopped. 3 minutes, 52 seconds. The observation deck was utterly silent. Voron stared at the display, then at Luna, who now stood calmly at the exit, breathing evenly, not even sweating. Zara's face had gone pale. The record had not just been broken, it had been shattered. How? Someone whispered. Luna said nothing. She walked back to her seat, her expression unchanged, but the silence around her had shifted. It was no longer the silence of indifference. It was the silence of awe mixed with fear. Later, in the mess hall, cadets avoided her table. Some glanced her way with wide eyes. Others whispered behind hands. Zara did not appear at all. That night, alone in her quarters, Luna sat on her bunk. She pulled a small worn pendant from under her shirt, a scale, silver and warm to the touch. She closed her eyes. Far away, deep in the Academy's restricted biohabitat zone, something stirred. A low hum vibrated through the walls, too soft for human ears but clear to her. Kyle was awake, and he was waiting. Luna smiled faintly. The challenge had been small, but it had drawn eyes. Some curious, some dangerous. She knew what came next. On Virith, showing strength always brought trouble, but also opportunity. She stood, tucked the scale away, and turned off the light. Outside her window, the stars burned cold and endless. Somewhere out there, enemies were watching. Allies were wondering. And the war, though no one called it that yet, had already begun. But for now, there was only the Academy. The records, and the quiet girl who broke them without trying. After the Crimson Gauntlet, the Academy buzzed with talk of Luna Brandt. Cadets replayed the simulation footage in common rooms, pausing at the moment she disarmed the second drone with a single twist. Instructors reviewed her biometrics. Heart rate never above 90, muscle tension optimal, oxygen use minimal. She moved like a machine, but her eyes held something wild, something old, something not quite human. Luna ignored the attention. She attended classes, completed drills, and kept her bunk tidy. But each night after lights out, she slipped through service corridors known only to maintenance crews. These passages twisted deep into the station's underbelly, past coolant vents and power relays, until they reached Sector 9, the restricted biohabitat zone. The habitat was meant for alien flora and non-sentient fauna used in xenobiology studies. It was sealed, monitored, and off-limits to cadets. Yet Luna had found a flaw in its design during her first week. A maintenance hatch near Greenhouse 4 had a faulty lock. It clicked open with the right pressure and a twist of her wrist. She had used it every third night since. Tonight, the air inside the habitat was warm and thick with the scent of damp moss and ozone. Soft blue lights glowed along the floor, casting long shadows among the towering ferns and crystal vines imported from a dozen worlds. In the center of the largest chamber, curled beneath a thermal canopy woven from heat-retaining fibers, lay Kyle. He was no bigger than a large dog, but his presence filled the room. His scales shimmered silver gray, shifting like liquid metal in the low light. Wings folded tight against his back, claws tucked under his chest, eyes closed in sleep. But as Luna stepped forward, his head lifted. A low rumbling purr vibrated through the air. Luna knelt beside him. "Hey, little Storm," she said softly. Kale blinked. His eyes were gold, slitted like a cat's, but deep with intelligence. He nudged her hand with his snout. She scratched behind his horns, and he leaned into it, rumbling louder. They had been together since she was 6. On Virith, dragon hatchlings were paired with human children as part of an ancient bond. Not pets, not weapons. Partners. The dragons of Virith were not mythical beasts. They were survivors, like the humans who shared their world. They breathed no fire, but their scales could deflect plasma rounds. Their senses could track heartbeats through stone, and their minds linked with their humans in silent understanding. Kale had hidden in her gear crate when she left Virith, wrapped in thermal blankets fed with nutrient paste, sleeping through the long jump to Kalis orbit. Academy regs forbade non-standard companions, especially bioengineered or exotic species. If Kale was found, he would be seized, studied, maybe dissected. Luna would be expelled or worse, but she could not leave him, and he would not stay behind. She sat cross-legged on the floor, pulling a small pouch from her belt. Inside were dried strips of protein and a few Verithian root chips, his favorite. Kyle ate slowly, eyes never leaving her face. She told him about the gauntlet, about Zara's challenge, about the way the other cadets now watched her in the halls. "They think I am just strong," she said. "They do not know what real strength is." Kale tilted his head. A thought brushed her mind. Not words, but feelings. Caution. Danger. Watch the silver-haired one. "You felt it too, huh?" she said. "Zara is not just proud. She is watching, maybe for someone else." Kale rumbled again, low and warning. Luna stayed until the habitat's night cycle dimmed the lights further. Then she stood, brushing dirt from her knees. "Time to go. Stay quiet. Stay hidden." Kale nuzzled her palm once, then settled back under the canopy, his eyes closing. But Luna knew he would not sleep deeply. Not tonight. She retraced her steps through the service tunnels, moving like smoke. But halfway to the main corridor, she froze. A faint hum, too regular for station noise. She pressed against the wall, listening. Drones. Surveillance models, small and silent, with optical lenses and audio pickups. They were not supposed to be this deep in the maintenance sector. Luna held her breath. The drones hovered near the junction ahead, scanning. One turned, its lens glinting red. She ducked into a side vent just as its beam swept past. Her heart pounded, but her hand stayed steady. They were looking for something. Or someone. She waited 10 full minutes before moving again. When she reached her dorm, she locked the door and sat on her bunk, thinking. Someone knew. Or suspected. The gauntlet had drawn more than admiration. It had drawn eyes that did not blink. The next morning, rumors spread faster than usual. Zara Van had not reported for morning drills. Her bunk was empty. Her personal terminal showed no activity for 12 hours. Some said she had been called away for a private mission. Others whispered she had been punished for provoking a Deathworlder. But Luna knew better. Zara was not the type to vanish quietly. And the drones in the tunnels, they had not been routine. In tactics class, Instructor Voran announced a new exercise. Team-based infiltration simulation. Cadets would be paired randomly. Luna found herself grouped with Eva Morrow, a human lieutenant who taught advanced field strategy. Eva was in her late 20s, sharp-eyed, with short brown hair and a calm voice that never rose above a murmur. She had served on 3 frontier worlds before joining the Academy staff, and she watched Luna more closely than anyone else. During the sim, Eva said little, but when Luna disabled a hidden turret with a rock and a piece of wire, Eva's eyes narrowed. After the exercise, she approached. "You learned that on Virith, Cadet," Eva said. "Not in any manual." "Yes, ma'am," Luna replied. "Virith is classified level 9. No off-world records. No training logs. How did you survive long enough to enlist?" Luna met her gaze. "We survive because we must." Eva studied her a moment longer, then nodded. "Be careful, Cadet. Some records are not meant to be broken. Some secrets attract the wrong kind of attention." Luna said nothing, but that night she returned to the habitat earlier than usual. Kale was already awake, pacing near the canopy. His tail flicked. "Danger close." She crouched beside him. "They know something. Not everything, but enough." Kale's scales rippled, shifting to a darker gray. Camouflage mode. He was ready. As Luna turned to leave, a soft chime echoed through the habitat. The main door, sealed for night cycle, was unlocking. Someone had override access. Luna's blood ran cold. She grabbed Kale's harness, pulling him behind a cluster of crystal ferns. The door slid open. 2 figures entered, clad in Academy security armor. But their movements were too smooth, too precise. Not regular guards. Special ops, they carried containment nets, energy-dampening mesh used for exotic fauna, and neural cuffs. "They are not here for me," Luna whispered. "They are here for you," Kale growled, low and deep. Luna placed a hand on his neck. "Stay still. Stay silent." The operatives moved slowly, scanning with handheld sensors. One paused near the thermal canopy. He nudged it with his boot. It shifted, revealing claw marks on the floor beneath. "Got a trace," he said into his comm. "Biosigns recent. Small, warm-blooded, high metabolic rate." Luna's mind raced. If they found Kale, both of them would disappear. She could not fight 2 trained operatives in open space. But she knew this habitat better than they did. She signaled Kale with a flick of her fingers. Old Varethian hand code. Wait, then distract. Kale understood. He waited until the operatives turned toward the far greenhouse. Then with a sudden burst of speed, he leaped onto a high shelf, knocking over a tray of glowing spores. The spores burst into the air, releasing a cloud of bioluminescent dust that jammed optical sensors. What the? The first operative spun, raising his net launcher. Luna moved. She dropped from a ceiling beam she had climbed during her last visit, landing behind the second operative. One sharp strike to the neck joint of his armor disabled his comms. A knee to his spine dropped him. She grabbed his stun baton and rolled away as the first fired the net. It missed, tangling in the vines. Kale darted between the man's legs, tripping him. Luna was on him in an instant, pressing the baton to his temple. He went limp. She did not kill them, but she erased their memory chips, disabled their trackers, and dragged them into a storage closet, locking it with a bent wire. It would not hold long, but it would buy time. Kale stood beside her, panting slightly. His left wing was nicked by a stray energy pulse from the net. Luna pulled a med patch from her sleeve and pressed it to the wound. "You okay?" she asked. He nudged her shoulder. "You first," she smiled faintly. "We are both fine, but we cannot stay here." That night, Luna made a decision. Kale could not remain in the habitat. It was compromised. She would move him to a new hiding place, deeper in the station near the old reactor vents where heat masked life signs. It was risky but necessary. As she led him through the dark tunnels, she thought of Eva's warning. Some secrets attract the wrong kind of attention. And now someone knew there was more to the Deathworlder Cadet than records and reflexes. But they did not know the truth. Not yet, and by the time they did, it would be too late. Days passed with a quiet tension humming beneath the Academy's routine. Saraven remained missing. Official reports claimed she had been reassigned to a diplomatic envoy. But no one believed it. Her name vanished from rosters. Her gear disappeared from storage. Even her close friends received no messages. It was as if she had never existed. Luna watched. She trained. She kept her eyes down and her steps light. Kale stayed hidden in the old reactor vent chamber deep in Sector 12, a dead zone long abandoned after a coolant leak. The heat there masked his life signs, and the constant hum of failing machinery drowned out his breathing. Luna visited every other night, bringing food, checking his wing, speaking in soft tones. They did not need many words. Their bond ran deeper than speech. But trouble was coming. Luna felt it in the way cadets avoided her gaze in the mess hall, in the extra patrols near her dorm, in the way Instructor Varan watched her during drills, his expression unreadable. Then came the zero-gravity combat exercise. It was part of the advanced squad rotation, simulated boarding action on a derelict freighter. Cadets would be dropped into the ship's interior, tasked with securing the bridge while fending off automated defenses, teams of 4. Random assignment. Luna's team included 2 humans and a silent cadet named Rios. They suited up in mag boots and tether lines, helmets sealed, comms active. Eva Morrow oversaw the exercise from the command deck. Once inside the freighter, gravity shut off. The team floated through dark corridors, weapons ready. Luna moved with calm precision, anchoring herself with light touches, scanning every shadow. Something felt wrong. The ship's layout matched the simulation files, but the ambient noise was off. Too quiet. No hum from the fake reactors. No flicker from the emergency lights. Then the first shot rang out, not from the training drones. Real plasma fire. Hot. Lethal. Luna shoved Rios behind a bulkhead as a bolt seared past. The 2 human cadets panicked, firing wildly. A second shot took one in the shoulder. Not fatal, armor held, but enough to disable. "Who is shooting?" Rios hissed. "Not Academy issue," Luna said. "Stay low." She peered around the corner. 3 figures in black tactical gear, no insignia, moved with military discipline. They carried pulse rifles and wore rebreathers. Mercenaries. Or worse, Synthari loyalists. The name sent a chill through her. The Zenthari Empire had fallen decades ago, shattered by the Alliance after centuries of conquest. But whispers remained of cells still active, hiding in the fringe systems, waiting. And Virith had once been their secret prison world. They knew who she was, and they wanted Kale. Luna signaled her team to fall back, but the loyalists had them pinned. One tossed a flash grenade. Light and sound exploded in the corridor. Rios cried out, blinded. The wounded cadet floated helplessly. Luna made a choice. She activated her suit's emergency beacon, a standard feature that sent a distress pulse to command. Then she detached her tether and pushed off hard, launching herself down a side shaft. The loyalists followed, thinking she was fleeing. That was what she wanted. She led them through a maze of maintenance tunnels using every trick from Virith. Feints, sudden stops, using debris to block paths. But they were good. Too good. One cut her off at a junction. He raised his rifle. Luna twisted midair, kicked off a pipe, and slammed into him. They crashed into a control panel. Sparks flew. She grabbed his rifle, twisted it free, and fired twice into the ceiling. Panels rained down, blocking the other two. But the first loyalist was not done. He pulled a blade, a Zenthari nerve spike, and lunged. Luna dodged, but the tip grazed her arm. Pain flared sharp and cold. Her vision blurred for a second. The toxin was fast. She stumbled back, gripping the wall. The loyalist smiled behind his mask. Deathworlder, you are worth more alive, but we will take you either way. Then a shadow dropped from above. Kale. He had followed her. Somehow, through vents and shafts, he had tracked her signal. He landed on the loyalist's back, claws sinking into armor. The man screamed, thrashing. Kale bit down on his shoulder joint, disabling his arm. Then he turned, eyes blazing, and faced the other two who had just broken through the debris. Luna forced herself upright. Her arm burned, but her mind was clear. She raised the stolen rifle. The loyalists hesitated. They had not expected a dragon, especially not here. Kale spread his wings, letting out a low, guttural roar that vibrated through the metal walls. It was not loud, but it carried the weight of Virith, of ancient things that did not fear death. One loyalist fired. The net launcher this time, energy threads shot out, designed to suppress exotic biology. Kale tried to dodge, but the net caught his left wing inside. He crashed to the floor, snarling as the current surged through him. His muscles locked. He could not move. No, Luna whispered. She fired the rifle, not at the loyalists, but at the overhead coolant line. It burst. Freezing vapor flooded the corridor. In the chaos, she dove for Kale, tearing at the net. It shocked her hands, but she did not stop. She ripped it free just as Eva Morrow and a security team burst in. Weapons raised. Freeze, Eva ordered. The loyalists dropped their weapons. They knew they were outnumbered. Luna ignored them. She cradled Kale's head. He was breathing, but weak. His scales had dulled. The net's energy had drained him. Eva approached slowly. "Who is this?" she asked, her voice low. Luna looked up. "My partner." Eva's eyes widened slightly. She had seen Academy files. She knew dragons were extinct, or so the Alliance claimed. Yet here one was, real and wounded. "Get him to medical," Eva said to her team. "Now." But Luna shook her head. "No. They will study him, dissect him. He is not a specimen." Eva studied her for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Take him to my private lab. Level 5 clearance. No records, no scans, just treatment." Luna hesitated. Trust was dangerous, but she had no choice. In Eva's lab, hidden behind a false wall in the engineering wing, Kale lay on a heated pad. Eva used field med kits to treat the energy burns, careful not to touch his scales too much. She worked in silence for nearly an hour. When she finished, she sat back. That net was Zenthari design, banned for 50 years. How did they get it? Luna said nothing. "You are not just a cadet," Eva said. "You are a key, and they want to turn you." Luna met her eyes. "What do you know about Virith?" Eva sighed. "More than I should. My grandmother served on the Alliance team that sealed the planet after the Zenthari collapse. They found ruins, labs, cages, and dragon bones. Thousands of them. But no live specimens. They thought they were all gone." Kale stirred, opening one golden eye. He looked at Eva, then at Luna. "He is the last," Luna said softly. "Or one of the last," Eva replied. "And if the Loyalists have found you, they will not stop. They believe dragon blood can activate something. A weapon, a plague. I do not know the details. But Zara Ven was not just a rival. She was a scout. Sent to test you." Luna's stomach tightened. "So she is with them? Or dead?" Eva said grimly. "Either way, they know you are here, and they know about him." Outside, alarms began to blare. Not drill alarms, real ones. Red lights flashed through the lab's small window. Eva checked her comm. "Breach in Sector 9. They are looking for something." "Or someone," Luna stood. "I have to move him." "Not yet," Eva said. "Let them search. My lab is shielded. But this changes everything. You cannot stay here much longer." Luna looked at Kale. He was stronger now, but still weak. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the silver scale she always carried. She pressed it into Eva's hand. "If I do not make it back, give this to the Alliance High Council. It holds a data crystal, the truth about Virith." Eva closed her fingers around it. "I will not let it fall into the wrong hands." That night, as the Academy locked down and search teams swept every corridor, Luna and Kyle vanished again. Not through service tunnels this time, but through the old waste chute that led to the station's outer hull maintenance bay. From there they could reach the cargo docks. Somewhere in the dark a war was waking up, and the Deathworlder Cadet was no longer just a student. She was a target, a guardian, and the only one who could stop what was coming. But first, she had to survive the night. Hidden in the cargo bay's shadowed corner, Luna wrapped Kale in a thermal blanket lined with signal-dampening mesh. His breathing was steady now, but his movements were slow. The energy net had done more than drain him. It had left a residue in his system, a faint hum that made his scales twitch. He needed time, rest, safety. But time was the one thing they did not have. While Kale slept, Luna accessed a hidden compartment in her boot. Inside was a small data chip, no bigger than a fingernail, sealed in Verithian resin. It had been given to her by the elders before she left the planet. "Do not use it unless the sky burns," they had said. She had not understood then. She did now. She inserted the chip into a stolen maintenance pad, one she had taken from a distracted technician during the lockdown. The screen flickered, then displayed a symbol, a dragon coiled around a dying star. The Virith archive, files unfolded one by one, not just records. Memories, recordings, images of labs buried deep beneath Virith's surface, of humans and dragons bound together in steel chambers, of Xanthari scientists injecting something into dragon veins, something that glowed faint blue. Luna watched, heart pounding, as a voice spoke through the static. It was Elder Marin, her mentor, her second mother. "If you are seeing this, child, then the Loyalists have returned. Virith was never just a death world. It was a prison, a vault. The Xanthari built it to contain what they created. The last bioplague, designed to rewrite life itself. They called it the Silence. It does not kill. It changes. It turns living minds into obedient shells, and the only key to controlling it is dragon blood." Luna's hands trembled. She scrolled further. Diagrams showed how the plague spread through neural waves undetectable until it was too late. Entire colonies could fall in hours. The Alliance had sealed Virith not to protect the galaxy from its dangers, but to keep the plague buried. But the Loyalists had found a way to awaken it, and they believed Kale's blood could activate a control sequence, or worse, amplify it. A noise echoed from the far end of the bay. Footsteps, heavy, armored. Luna shut off the pad and pulled Kale deeper into the shadows. Two figures entered, scanning with handheld sensors, not Academy security. Xanthari gear, rebreathers, pulse rifles. They knew she was here. One knelt, examining a scuff on the floor, her boot print. She cursed silently. The cargo bay had no exits except the main door and the airlock. Both were watched. Kale stirred. His eyes opened. He sensed them too. He nudged her arm, then pointed his snout toward the ceiling with a soft chuff. Above them, a network of cargo lift rails ran along the bay's roof. Old, rusted, but usable. Luna nodded. She climbed first, using crates and pipes to reach the rails. Then she lowered a strap and hauled Kale up, wincing as he winced, his wings still tender. They crawled along the narrow beam, staying low, moving toward the far wall where a ventilation shaft led to the station's outer ring. Below, the Loyalists split up. One moved toward the airlock. The other paused, head tilted. He had heard something. Luna held her breath. Kale pressed close. The Loyalist took a step forward. Then his comm crackled. "Status," a voice said. "No sign yet," he replied. "But she is here." The dragon's bio-sign is faint but present. Luna's blood ran cold. They had a tracker. Not on her, on Kale. From the net, she looked at Kale. He understood. With a grimace, he reached back with his teeth and tore a small node from the base of his wing, the source of the signal. It sparked once, then died. The Loyalist's sensor beeped, then went silent. "Lost the signal," he muttered. "Good," the voice replied. "Expand search to docking arm C." The Loyalist moved on. Luna waited until his footsteps faded. Then she helped Kale down into a service alcove near the ventilation shaft. Inside, the air was stale but safe. She checked his wing. The wound bled slightly, but he waved her off. "We have to decide," she whispered. "Stay and fight, or run and warn the Alliance." Kale looked at her. Then he touched his forehead to hers. A Varethian gesture of unity. Not run, not hide, reveal. She nodded. He was right. Hiding would only delay the inevitable. The plague was already stirring. Somewhere in a hidden lab, the Loyalists were preparing to release it, and if they succeeded, billions would fall without ever knowing they were under attack. But how to stop them? The Academy was compromised. Eva Morrow was their only ally, and even she could not act openly. The High Council would demand proof, and proof meant risking Kale unless... Luna remembered the graduation war games. In 3 days, the entire Academy would run a full-scale simulation. Live ships, real weapons on low yield, every cadet and instructor involved. It was the perfect cover. During the chaos, she could access the central command node and broadcast everything. The archive, the truth, the warning. But it was also a trap. The Loyalists would be there, waiting. Kale nudged her again. His eyes held no fear, only resolve. They would do it together. Over the next 2 days, Luna moved like a ghost. She avoided classes using forged clearance codes to slip through restricted zones. She studied the war game's layout, memorized patrol routes, identified blind spots in the station's security grid. Eva left a data slate in the mess hall locker marked with a red stripe. Luna's signal. Inside were schematics of the command hub and a single line. "I will create a window. 10 seconds. Use it well." Kale stayed hidden in the outer ring near a decommissioned comms array. He grew stronger each day, his scales regaining their luster. At night, they practiced silent signals. Old Varethian hand signs, wing flicks, breath patterns. They did not need words. They had been training for this since childhood. On the morning of the war games, the station buzzed with energy. Cadets suited up. Instructors ran final checks. Ships powered up in the hangar bays. The simulation would begin at noon. 2 fleets, red and blue, battling for control of the Academy and surrounding space. Luna was assigned to Blue Squad, stationed near the command deck. Perfect. But as she walked to the staging area, she saw them. 3 new faces in black uniforms standing near the control hub. Centauri Loyalists posing as Alliance observers. And one of them carried a case, small, silver, humming faintly. A biocontainment unit. For blood samples. They were ready to take Kale the moment he appeared. Luna's jaw tightened. She would not let that happen. At 11:55, she slipped away from her squad, using a smoke charge to create a diversion in Corridor 7. While guards rushed to investigate, she dropped into a maintenance shaft and crawled toward the command hub. Above her, the station shook as the first simulated strikes hit the outer shields. The war games had begun. Inside the hub, chaos reigned. Screens flashed with fleet movements, damage reports, comms chatter. Eva stood at the main console, barking orders. She saw Luna enter and gave a single nod. "Go," she mouthed. Luna moved fast. She jacked the Virith archive chip into the primary broadcast node. A warning popped up, unauthorized transmission. She overrode it with a code stolen from a sleeping tech the night before. The system hesitated, then accepted it. 10 seconds, she uploaded the files. Elder Marin's voice filled the comms channel. Every ship, every headset, every public screen in the station lit up with the truth. The Loyalists froze. One shouted into his comm. Shut it down, but it was too late. The transmission spread. To the Academy. To orbiting ships. To Alliance Command 3 systems away. Alarms blared, not simulation alarms. Real ones, red lights. Lockdown protocols. Eva turned to the Loyalists. "You are under arrest for crimes against the Galactic Charter." They drew weapons, but Luna was already moving. She vaulted over a console, kicked one Loyalist in the chest and snatched the silver case from his belt. Inside, vials glowed faint blue, the silence plague ready for deployment. Kale burst through the ceiling vent with a roar. The final battle had begun. Chaos erupted in the command hub. Screens flickered between simulation feeds and real-time alerts. Cadets froze mid-drill, confused by the sudden shift from exercise to emergency. The Loyalists, now exposed, moved fast. One fired a pulse round at Eva. She ducked behind a console, returning fire with a sidearm drawn from her belt. Another Loyalist lunged for the broadcast terminal, trying to cut the transmission. Luna blocked him with a hard kick to the ribs. Kyle landed between the remaining 2, Wings spread, teeth bared, his presence alone sent them stumbling back. They had expected a beast, not a warrior. Luna clutched the silver case tight. The plague vials rattled inside. If they broke, the entire station could fall in minutes. She had to get them to containment. Eva shouted over the noise. Extraction Bay Alpha. Now Luna nodded. She tossed a smoke pellet at the Loyalists' feet. Thick, gray fog filled the room. In the confusion, she and Kale bolted for the exit. Behind them, Eva held the line. Her shots precise, her voice calm despite the storm. In the corridor, alarms wailed. Red lights pulsed. Cadets scrambled for shelter. Luna ran, Kale at her side, weaving through the panic. They reached Bay Alpha just as the outer doors began to seal. She slammed her palm on the emergency override. The doors halted halfway. Inside, a small shuttle waited. Eva's personal craft prepped and fueled. She must have planned this. Luna threw the case into the cargo hold and helped Kale aboard. His wings still ached, but he moved with purpose. As the shuttle powered up, the Loyalists appeared at the bay entrance, weapons raised. Kale turned. With a deep breath, he unleashed a sonic pulse. Not fire, but a focused wave of sound that shattered glass and overloaded electronics. The Loyalists dropped their rifles, clutching their ears. The bay doors finally closed. Eva burst in through a side hatch, bleeding from a graze on her temple. She threw herself into the pilot seat and slammed the throttle. The shuttle shot out of the bay into open space. Behind them, the Academy station glowed against the stars. But it was no longer just a school. It was a battleground. Alliance ships had broken formation. Some moved to secure the station. Others turned weapons on suspected Loyalist vessels hiding among the simulation fleet. Comms channels buzzed with commands, confirmations, and the chilling echo of Elder Marin's warning repeating on loop. Eva patched her wound with a med strip. "You did it," she said to Luna. "They know now." But knowing was not enough. The plague was real. And the Loyalists had more than one sample. Luna opened the silver case. 3 vials remained intact. One was cracked, leaking a faint blue mist. She sealed it quickly with a thermal patch from the shuttle kit. "We need to destroy these completely." Eva nodded. "There is a disposal forge on asteroid K7. Military grade. It can melt them to atoms." "Set course," Luna said. As the shuttle jumped to high orbit, Kale curled near the rear hatch, watching the stars. He was tired but alert. His bond with Luna hummed with shared purpose. They had come this far. They would see it through. 2 hours later, they reached K7, a barren rock used for weapons testing. The forge stood in a crater, surrounded by blast shields. Eva landed the shuttle and activated the remote incinerator. Luna carried the case inside, placed it in the crucible, and stepped back. The forge roared to life. Temperatures climbed past 10,000 degrees. Metal, glass, even data chips turned to vapor. The blue mist inside the vials flared once, then vanished. It was done. Back on the shuttle, Eva contacted Alliance High Command. The transmission was secure this time. She reported the Loyalist plot, the plague, the dragon's roll, and Luna's actions. There was silence for a long moment. Then a response. Bring them home. 3 days later, the Academy held a formal assembly, not for punishment, for recognition. Luna stood on the central platform, still in her cadet uniform. Kale beside her on a reinforced perch. The entire station watched, cadets, instructors, visiting admirals. Even the Krellian High Council had sent a representative. Admiral Corsa, a human woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen too many wars, stepped forward. "Cadet Luna Branch," she said, "your actions have saved countless lives. You exposed a threat hidden for decades. You protected a species believed lost. And you did it without orders, without backup, without fear." She turned to the crowd. "The Crimson Gauntlet record will remain, but it will no longer be listed under speed or strength. It will be listed under courage." The crowd erupted in applause. Even Zara's former friends clapped, their faces filled with awe, not envy. Then the Admiral looked at Kyle. "And you, Guardian of Irith, the Alliance offers you sanctuary, protection, a place among us not as a specimen but as a sovereign being." Kale bowed his head once, a gesture of acceptance. After the ceremony, Eva approached Luna. "What will you do now?" Luna looked at Kale, then at the stars beyond the observation deck. "Train," she said, "prepare. The Loyalists are scattered, not gone, and there are other death worlds." "Other secrets," Eva smiled. "Then I will request reassignment. I could use a partner like you." Luna did not smile back, but her eyes softened. That would be good. That night, Luna stood alone on the outer observation rim. Kale circled above, his silver form glinting in the starlight. Below, the academy hummed with renewed purpose. Records had been broken, lies had been burned away, and a new chapter had begun. She touched the scale pendant at her chest. It felt warm, alive. Somewhere out there, enemies still hid, wars still brewed, but they would not face them alone. High above, Kale let out a low, echoing call, a sound not of fear but of readiness. Then he banked sharply and vanished into the dark. Luna watched him go. Then she turned and walked back inside, boots clicking on the metal floor. The Deathworlder Cadet was no longer just a student. She was a legend, and her story had only just begun.